What's up, boys and girls? I just want to show you guys the unit circle concepts, my personal understanding. Okay, might be a little different from the textbook. Uh, well, a lot of similarities too, but this is just my own understanding. I just want to show it to you guys. Let's get started with the right triangles. Okay, so I've seen so many right triangles. You draw on the unit circle. The two most popular ones are going to be 30, 60, 90 and 45, 45, 90. Okay, so the ratios of 30, 60, 90, the opposite of 30 is going to be 1. Opposite of 60 is going to be rad 3. So using the Pythagorean theorem, you're going to see that hypotenuse is 2. Okay, for 45, 45, since the opposite of 45, 45 are equal, they're congruent. So you're going to put 1 for each. Using Pythagorean theorem, the hypotenuse is going to be rad 2. Okay, you're going to have to remember this. Very important. Okay, so let me explain to you why unit circle is called the unit circle. Because it's 1 unit. It's 1 unit for the radius. Okay, so radius is going to equal to 1 on however you draw this. It's always going to be 1 unit. Okay, always 1. That's why we call it the unit circle. All right, so let's look at the triangles. How do you draw a triangle in the standard position? So you know that you're going to be given a theta, okay? And then you're going to be drawing a terminal side. So a lot of people are making mistakes on drawing a triangle is that they draw a horizontal line straight to the y-axis and make a right triangle like that. Wrong. Okay, don't do that. You're going to be drawing a vertical line to the x-axis, okay, and you're going to get the right triangle looking like that, okay, which means that if I have to draw another terminal side, if I'm given with a different measure, so for example, if that's my theta, and then you're going to have to draw a vertical line to the x-axis, okay, and that's how you're gonna draw a triangle in the quadrant 3. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So when you draw a right triangle, after you draw it, you understand that the opposite of theta, okay, is going to be labeled as opposite. The one next to it, we're gonna label as adjacent. Okay, hypotenuse, that's the longest one, right? That's all. Pretty simple. That's from geometry. This is also from geometry too, right? So you got the all these trig ratios, opposite over hypotenuse for sine, adjacent over hypotenuse is for cosine, and look at the other side. Okay, so the other side is basically the reciprocal. So cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So you see that the fraction flips. Okay, you went from opposite and hypotenuse over hypotenuse. Now it's going to be hypotenuse over opposite. Okay, so everything on the right hand side are the reciprocal of sine, cosine, and tangent. All right, so now we're going to talk about the trig ratios in unit circle. So earlier I told you guys that this is the opposite, this is the adjacent, and then this is hypotenuse. Okay, I want you guys to understand that if you're drawing this on the unit circle, you're going to involve with x, y. Okay, so putting the easiest way to understand it is that you know that x is actually the length of this side, which is the adjacent side. So adjacent side, you want to think of it as x. Okay, opposite side, you want to think of it as y. What about the hypotenuse? Since the hypotenuse is also the radius of this unit circle, so hypotenuse, you want to think of it as r. Okay, so that's why you can write the x, y, and r in terms of opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So earlier you see that for sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Now it's going to be y over r. Okay, everything changed to x, y, r. Okay, you also see that the reciprocals are going to be just flipping the fraction. Pretty easy. You know what? Let me go back to this. So one more thing. If you guys look at the textbook, sometimes they're going to say that, oh, sine is just equal to y. Let me explain to you why. Okay? Because in a unit circle, y is equal to 1. Okay? Sorry, r is equal to 1. Okay? All the r's are equal to 1. So y over 1, that just equal to y. So you can also say that sine theta, it just equals to y. Cosine theta, it just equals to x. But for tangent, there's no numbers for you to plug it in, so you're just going to keep it as y over x. All right, so the triangles in unit circle. So if it's in quadrant 1, you're going to see that it's positive y value and a positive x value, and the radius is always going to be positive. Okay, for quadrant 2, the radius is going to be positive, but look at this. The x value is going to be negative. The y value is going to be positive. Okay, you know the characteristics of quadrant 3. You're about to have negative y value and negative x value. Okay, but the radius, keep in mind, is always going to be positive. Okay, radius is always positive. Okay, for the quadrant 4, x is going to be positive, but the y is going to be negative. All right, so this is the most important Pythagorean identity. Okay, so we know that x is basically cosine theta, and we know that y is sine theta. Okay, and we know that r is 1 in unit circle. So you can come up with the equation. It's x squared plus y squared equals to r squared. Okay, and then I'm gonna change the x, y, r to sine, cosine, and 1. So x squared, I'm gonna write cosine squared theta. Y squared, I'm gonna put sine squared theta, and that's gonna equal to 1 squared. Okay, usually you're gonna see people write actually in a different way. You're gonna switch the spot of y squared and cosine squared. So the one you guys are actually going to see is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta equals to 1. Okay, that is the key to this lesson. Okay, you got to remember this. All right, so there's other identities. So I'm going to show you guys how you go from first equation to second equation. So the first equation, if you divide it by cosine squared theta, you're going to get the second equation. Okay. For number 3, all you need to do is use the first equation in number 1, and you divide it by sine squared theta, and you're going to get the equation number 3. Not that hard. You don't have to memorize it all, or you don't have to memorize all of them. Just memorize the first one. Anyway, that's it. That's for my lesson. Peace out.